Severe and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are Michael Severe and
Mike Sauter joining us. Brass Monkey!
Brass Monkey!
Welcome back, Severe and Benning in the morning, 1620 The Zone, 402-951-1620. Mike Sauter sitting in for Damon Benning. He'll be back on Monday.
This guy probably likes Beastie Boys.
Maybe he'll come back on
guessing
Monday.
This guy's a Beastie
he might
Boy.
be celebrating so much with the Lakers and Dodgers that maybe he's
going to want to get out of wherever he's at right
wherever
now.
he is right now. Let's talk to the man who covers the Huskers and recruiting for 24/7 Sports and, of course, hosts the Recruiting Hour as well. Mike Schaefer joining us here on Severe and Benning in the morning. What is up, Schaefer?
Not a ton. I love that Mike Sauter drop that gets played when it's Michael Severe, and then you just dropping the name in there.
It's seamless, isn't it?
Really well done.
It's seamless. I think
Shane's
it sounds pretty good,
except for when he's late.
Shane's good with that. And Mike Sauter joining us. Did you yesterday, while all the Cub fans were mourning the end of that era, did you have the morning of remembering that Game 7 in that 2016 World Series?
We'll always have 2016, Shafe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad for Cubs fans that their mega rich owners won't pay to keep players like Anthony Rizzo or Chris Bryant or Javi Baez or whomever on their team, or that they traded Yu Darvish for the equivalent of Magic Beans. But, in the general sense, it sucks. Like, being a sports fan is you get attached to these guys and they play for your team. And, at the very least, they have the opportunity to win that World Series. And, when that World Series was going on in 2016, everyone talked about how these teams were going to be meeting up again. And then only one of them, I think, has won a playoff series since that time. Like, winning a title in sports is really, really hard. And so they should be very thankful that they had that opportunity at the very least. But, yeah, I mean, it always sucks as a sports fan that when a player that you're attached to, or sort of the team that you grew attached to, is a shell of itself. I mean, I've experienced that, no less than 3 times already, and I'm sure I will again. But it's always tough, and then to see him traded to the Yankees probably doesn't make anyone happy. And then what's frustrating for me as a baseball fan is it's the same 5 teams that are adding all of these players right now. Like, do the Dodgers really need Max Scherzer and Trey Turner coming off of a title? Like, the richest team in baseball just gets richer? Like, credit to their ownership for always going for it. It just sucks for the rest of baseball, in my opinion.
The funny part about it is these kind of moves haven't, at least recently, always resulted in that team winning the World Series. So that's the good thing.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, obviously it increased your chances, but at the same time, like, it would be fun to remember what it's like to have a ownership that's like, hey, you know what, we want to go for it. I mean, they traded for Andrew Miller, and that's what I have. Now he's a shell of himself for the Cardinals.
The Dodgers are going all in.
Well, they're all in, sure.
For sure.
The Yankees are trying to battle back. The Mets are going to go in today, I'm sure.
I mean, think of all the players the Dodgers have traded for in recent years, like including Yu Darvish, Manny Machado, Trey Turner, Max Scherzer. I mean, these are all deadline acquisitions in the last 4 years, 5 years. So this isn't new for them. I mean, this is just their MO, but they just continually reload, and their fans get to enjoy this incredible experience. It just kind of sucks for the rest of baseball that there's like 2 teams that ever get to do this.
They might get Kimbrel today, too.
Maybe. He could end up there. He could end up in a number of places, though. You never know.
Meanwhile, and I'm not an NBA guy, and you guys would know far more than I would, but how the hell is Russell Westbrook going to play with LeBron James? You want to talk about 2 egomaniacs that dominate the ball, and then they're going to play together?
Yeah, least efficient guy, and one of the least efficient guys in the history of the NBA, and Russell Westbrook playing with one of the most efficient guys in the NBA. I think it comes down to he's playing more with Anthony Davis, and LeBron is the other guy. That's how I would think about it.
Has to be.
Sure. Well, Anthony Davis has to be careful, though, because sometimes there's a stiff breeze in the arena and he'll fall down.
That's right.
I knew you were going to say that.
That's what I meant. He's the oldest young guy.
The oldest young guy.
NBA.
I know. He's 27 or whatever, going on 40.
Yeah.
I get it. But I don't know. I have no idea how they're going to play together. Also, how they're going to play with like only 6 guys on their roster.
Yeah.
So that's all they have money for. So
and be veteran minimum guys are rookies.
So many veterans are just going to take minimums, and so many teams are going to cut players in February.
Yep.
Their playoff bench will be fine by the time they get there.
You know how cool it would be, though, and I don't think this would ever happen, but if Russell Westbrook said to himself, You know what? I saw what Rondo did when he was there, and I'll just be that guy and try to be just Rondo with a little bit more scoring potential. I mean, that could work.
No way.
Yeah, I don't think Russell Westbrook has it.
No way.
He probably doesn't. You're probably right. Mike Schaefer joining us here on Severe and Bay in the morning. Give me the over-under in questionable calls against Texas and OU over however many years there are left in the Big 12.
Oh, man.
Is it like
I
100?
don't know that I could. I don't even know that I could come up with a good number. Let's put it this way. Iowa State's chances of beating Oklahoma seem even better now, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's going to be Oklahoma and Texas got to enjoy it when Nebraska was on this end of things, but it's going to be pretty rough, I think, for those programs in this swan song, which I can't imagine lasts longer than 1 year, but we will see. It would be hilarious to me if they are forced to stay in the Big 12 until 2024 or whatever that is. I mean, it would just I think it would just be unintentionally hilarious.
4 seasons of playing as a lame duck team.
Yep.
Sounds crazy, but at the same time, do they want to fork over $70 million? Because I don't think that the Big 12 would, come to some sort of deal to give them a cheaper out like the ACC did for Maryland. I don't think they're going to cut them any kind of break.
I mean, I don't know why Oklahoma and Texas can't make that sort of deal. If they really want out, they could do it.
Oh,
but
sure.
I think they're just banking on someone like Kansas or someone else also pulling the ripcord, and it's no longer their problem.
Certainly a possibility. Yeah,
it could be.
That could be a way to do it. Yeah.
Shafe, is what you do every day? Well, kind of every day. Husker football is there like a feeling of, okay, we've talked about how, we need to come together and the culture's great and this, we know we need to get better, all of that like cliche stuff. At some point, that just get old?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it got old in the second year of Scott Frost talking about culture and in the fourth year of it. I mean, look, that's just what football coaches do. They just repeat themselves over and over until our ears bleed, whether we want to believe it or not. I mean, they're not all that dissimilar. So it's obviously important for him to talk about culture because he perceives that the culture isn't what it needs to be for them to be successful. And then you get into the chicken and the egg. Is culture part of success or does culture breed success? And so you have all those different sort of things that pop up. But this is the time of year where you're guaranteed to get quotes about how, the team in 2021 is the most together Nebraska team. I mean, that stuff was happening at the, 2011 Bo Pelini when I first started covering this team for 24/7 Sports. So, I mean, that's just part of the deal. Those quotes operate very well for television or quick sound bites. They rarely ever make it into my stories, but you still get good stuff this time of year. I mean, one of the interesting takeaways for me is being part of the hallway crew yesterday. Damian Daniels talking about his conditioning. Feels like he should be able to play 10 plays in a row at the same level at this point in time. There was a time in his career where Nebraska didn't think he could get 3 plays in a row. They thought they'd get one really good, one okay, and then a massive drop-off. And so, his conditioning improvement is going to be a big part of that defensive line. I mean, there's still some good nuts and bolts stuff in there, but early August and late July is definitely the classic time for, the chemistry on this team has never been better, and these guys really love each other, and we feel like we're going in the right direction, and I'm playing for the brother next to me, and those sorts of things.
And I don't believe this has been said before, but, from in front of the big room, Scott Frost talked about trying to get these position battles done quicker. And then I like the fact that he mentioned a bell cow back for the running back position opposed to just a timeshare with those guys. I thought that was kind of interesting to see who ends up coming out as that guy and how quickly they can get those position battles dealt with.
I hate running back timeshares because I just feel like it doesn't work as well as it seems like it should on paper. I mean, the numbers might add up to look good, but I always feel like you're more confident as a team if you've got that one guy you're going to give the ball to salt the game away versus, well, it could be whichever one Ryan Held wants to put in at any point in time. And part of it is Nebraska, whenever they have tried to do a timeshare over the last 6 years, it's kind of been disastrous and or ineffective. So I would love to see just a single running back emerge you talk to the guys on the team, and they don't really get that. They don't give you that sense. I mean, they sort of talk about how it feels like it's pretty even there. You hear Marvin Scott's name pop up a little bit, a little Gabe Ervin. Marquis Stepp, if he's healthy, is going to be a part of this thing. And then, of course, Jock Ant arrived in the spring, and everybody wants to talk about him. So I think we're more likely to see a bunch of guys with carries and nobody over, say, 850 yards than we are seeing one running back go over 1,000. So I'm expecting a timeshare in no short part because the staff has not been able to get away from that.
Who's the one I hate cliche term, breakout player this year that you think has a chance to just be like, oh, wow, okay. Like, that's a not new name because around here everyone knows every name, but the one guy that maybe is going to exceed expectation?
I love this question because I think there's a different ways that you can go with this sort of breakout. You can have a guy that already sort of broke out and then he goes from like above average to great, or you get a guy that goes from great to superstar. So there's a variety of ways to go. So I'll try to give you a couple that fit different categories. I really like Braxton Clark. I mean, I believe strongly that Braxton Clark is going to be a guy that helps this team, even if he's not necessarily the number one corner opposite of Cam Taylor-Britt. He's going to play a lot. Yeah. I like his body size. I think that they kind of want him sort of what, some NFL teams do this where you have one corner that's much bigger than the other, and he just sort of physically handles the bigger wide receivers as long as he can turn his hips and run. And they think that Clark can do that, and they kind of want to use him similar to Lamar Jackson in 2019. I mean, just to try to body some people up and let him use his long arms to make it difficult for passing windows. So I like Braxton Clark as kind of a breakout guy from the secondary. Elsewhere, Xavier Betts is someone that I believe very strongly in. I was happy to hear Adrian Martinez remark about his potential. There's a lot of weird off-season conversation about Xavier Betts that didn't sound particularly great. I don't know what to make of that all the time, but he's a guy that, I would love to see really kind of emerge as a true wide receiver weapon for Nebraska. I mean, Samori Toure has the best chance of being the number one wide receiver, but if Xavier Betts can kind of set himself up to sort of be the next guy after Samori Toure, I think that'd be really good for this program. And then maybe a third name, and not necessarily someone that's really surprising, but if the snaps are better, Cam Jurgens is going into his third year as a center. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's got a lot of experience at this point. Nebraska believes really strongly in what he can do, and so if he's able to snap consistently, and you can eliminate sort of that bugaboo conversation about him, I think he's a pretty good offensive lineman. I can't profess to know everything about offensive line play, but the people that know more than I do really like him. It's just the snaps. They're such an issue that it's hard to get beyond that. But that's sort of the big caveat there. So those are three guys on different levels that I kind of expect to make some jumps.
I'm going to add Betts into this, Shafe, but how important is it, do you think, we were talking about this earlier, for Heinrich or for Hickman, those guys who are Omaha guys, to have success so the next group of Omaha guys who come up actually choose or at least give Nebraska a chance?
I think it's big. I mean, I actually think that's part of this whole conversation about Omaha and Nebraska is that you haven't had a lot of those guys that you can kind of point to. You've had some different walk-on types, some Chris Webbers, some Andy Janoviches, guys from Elkhorn and Gretna and from some other areas. But who's the last really great OPS player? And so, maybe Nick Henrich can do that. He's certainly someone that we could have talked about in that vein. I mean, literally every linebacker is, other than maybe JoJo Doman. I mean, I think that position room is going to be a lot of fun, whether it's guys like Feldarius Payne or Nick Henrich or Chris Kolarovich or whoever. I think that's going to be a pretty fun group. I think Luke Reimer could finish the year as the best defensive player on Nebraska's team. I really think he has that kind of upside. But, Henrich more so than Hickman has a chance to really kind of, establish that OPS can produce these kind of players to play for Nebraska.
Maybe it's David Horn, that one good year he had in 2002 or 03. Maybe it's David Horn.
Paul, right?
Oh, definitely Niles Paul, yeah. Definitely Niles Paul.
Is the last one, but that's
North.
Going back to 2010. I mean, you kind of have a long gap in there.
Yeah, kids don't even know.
Yeah, they don't know. Even though Niles played in the league for a long time, don't know much about him.
Not that. I was just going to say, that's, for me, Nick could have a huge year. I mean, there is something needs to kind of shift as far as Metro is concerned. So, OPS in particular.
He makes plays.
Yeah.
Well, and you know as well as I do, Mike, that there's still a ton of talent that's going to be coming through the Metro and the surrounding communities. I mean, the Steve Warren event on Wednesday showcased that, and just seeing guys like Davon Hall and Daniel Kalin, and knowing that there's more coming in those 2024 classes, and even 2023. I mean, I didn't get a chance to talk to them, but guys like Sam Sledge and Barcelino and guys like that.
Schaefer, we appreciate it. Have a great weekend, man.
All right, guys. Have a good one. Thanks for having me on.
Mike Schaefer, the recruiting hour. Don't forget about that as well. You can listen to him in Lincoln.
Recruiting. They're going swimming today.
They are?
Columbus.
Who's going swimming?
They're doing their show from Columbus.
Really?
Yeah. There's
That's
a big
cool.
water park up there.
The Discoverers.
I thought about going up there just to get video of me going down the water slide.
Yeah, okay, good.
But then
that's
I
awesome.
decided
I'm
not
not going
to.
to a water park.
Just don't eat Popeyes beforehand.
It's absolutely gross. What's grosser than a water park? I mean, seriously. A Petri dish?
Actually,
what's gross?
It's outside, though.
I don't. Still, people are in the water.
You're right.
With gross stuff coming out of their bodies.
I will say, like
it is what it is.
Indoor video game, like
ball pit
thing.
pit, then a water park. Right there. Those are the top two.
As like a Dave and Buster's type thing where everyone's touching everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like
yeah. At least I can individually wipe off the video game before I play it.
That's true, but
I can't wipe off that nasty water that's out there. That's just gross.
Chlorine kills it, right?
They don't even use chlorine a lot of times as much anymore.
Chloroquine.
All I know is
you keep your head above water.
Once my kids, you have other holes. Once my kids learned how to swim, that was the last time I was going to pool. The last time or a water park.
All right, go ahead.
Matty Virgil joins us next year on Severe in the Morning.